First, this week's 1 on 1 in 10 with Tāmaki Makaurau by-election candidate Peeni Henare. One on 1 in 10. Kia ora, comrade. Welcome to the show and thank you for being available to the Fourth Estate. Your democracy is grateful. Peeni, a woeful 3,216 votes have been cast so far for the Tāmaki Makaurau by-election. How hard is it for whānau to worry about tomorrow when they can barely keep up with today? Many voters in Tāmaki Makaurau have complained about not being enrolled on the Māori vote roll despite updating their enrolments. And because 25% of the electorate move around, that's a lot of voters being actively disenfranchised by the current electoral system. Should voting be made easier?
Or you live in the communities of Manurewa or Mangere, your power in the voting booth is the same.
The government have announced, as you suggested, a voter suppression scheme that will stop enrolment of special votes 12 days before the next election. That impacts 450,000 voters. From your experience of this by-election, do you see those voting rules are enabling or undermining democracy?
Oh, it's clearly undermining democracy. We know that for a lot of whānau, in particular in current times with the cost of living crisis, whānau are they're surviving. Many of them are crowding houses because they can't afford to live, they can't afford to rent. And we know that the laws that this government are proposing will limit our ability to cast our democratic vote, to be able to engage in our democracy in Aotearoa, New Zealand here. And, we're going to be pushing back on this. But of course, we're not surprised by this agenda from this government. And that's why on the by-election campaign, I'm making it clear that if whānau support me and support this by-election, we can get rid of this lot next year at the big general election coming up in 2026.
What are the biggest issues in Tāmaki Makaurau that you're finding out there right now?
It's the cost of living, then daylight, and then followed by that, it's health and access to employment. We know all of those overlap with each other. So I talked with a mum in Otahuhu the other day. She said that she's had to decide on whether or not she buys kai or pays rent, and is hopeful that the landlord can be rather forgiving because she has to put kai on the table for her kids.
Right.
So we know that all those things impact on each other. So without a shadow of a doubt, it's a cost of living. And the sad thing, though, Bomber, is we've seen announcements from Nicola Willis and from this government over the past 5-6 weeks of this by-election of them just simply sitting on their hands, doing nothing to alleviate that pressure that not only Tāmaki Makaurau voters are feeling, but voters right across the country are feeling.
Peeni, last month, a newborn infant died in a central Auckland park while homelessness has reached new unseen-before levels. Aren't those issues more important than the media getting upset about your gang patch ban comment?
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it's another ploy by this government to distract voters in the whānau from what's really important and what's really impacting Tāmaki Makaurau at the moment. And, I last time I checked the Tāmaki Makaurau register, Paul Goldsmith wasn't eligible to vote in Tāmaki Makaurau electorate. So we're focused on the issues. And, when we talk about homelessness, we talk about the cost of living, this government's sitting on their hands. And, our whānau want practical and achievable outcomes. They're looking to the government for that and they're not getting it. So one of the big parts of our campaign is about talking to whānau about things that governments can do to make life easier, subsidising transport, making sure we can increase competition to bring down the cost of food, etc. But this government, once again, sitting on their hands.
What has been the most distressing thing you've seen out in the community?
I knocked on one whānau door in Mangere where there were 18 people in a 3-bedroom home. And
Wow.
some of them were working, some of them were on the benefit, some of them were really young, some of them were old, and it was just, we see a lot when you're in politics, but 18 people in a 3-bedroom home.
Wow.
And you know what was really awesome, though, Bomber, is they were awesome, and they came out to have a chat with me. We got talking about why it's important to vote and the challenges that they have. And you know what? Despite their circumstance, they're hopeful. So we've got a job to do to make sure that, we represent those people, that we can get real outcomes for those people.
What has been the most hopeful thing you've seen in the community?
We met the whānau at Mate Huruhuru who look after youth, homeless whānau.
Yeah.
And when we were with Mahira and her team, man, I spoke to a young girl who'd been homeless, or young wahine who'd been homeless for 2 years. And now she started her own business. She's got support around her. She talks about hope. She talks about her future. She talks about buying her own home. And this is a young wahine who's 19, turning 20. So, despite all the challenges, we're resilient people, we're strong people, and we're optimistic people. And we've seen all of that throughout this by-election.
What would you say to those voters who feel angry at the government and feel disillusioned with the voting system? Some people out there just say, why bother? What do you say to them?
I say to them that it's important that we practice our mana motu hake. When we talk about what does self-determination look like, we need to be very clear that in order for us to have that, we must exercise our democratic right, which is to vote. And when I'm talking to whānau out there, I highlight that in some countries around the world, that opportunity does not exist. And so here we've got a chance to not only build the momentum through this by-election, but my message has always been clear from the start of this campaign, is that my enemy is not Te Pāti Māori, my enemy is not Orini Kaipara. Our collective enemy is this government, and it's going to take all of us, Māori, Pākehā, Chinese, Indian, all of our whānau, to work together in order to change this government.
Preach. Finally, Peeni, and I really do hate to bring this up, comrade, I really do. But your beloved Warriors, they got smashed on Friday by the Eels. Is it time to admit that the Warriors are a lost cause and you need to start backing a winning team? Tell us.
Oh, you're killing me there, Bomber. I can tell you, we're still positioned in the finals. I think we're going to go pretty well under Fisher Harris. He's going to lead us to the promised land.
Preach.
And it's as Lapi Mariner always said, it's a matter of faith, brother.
Thank you, comrade. Good luck for the by-election. Be well, my friend.
Cheers, whānau.